I was being nice.
That's why I wanted to sit him and hug him and let him enjoy what I've enjoyed. You know, it's just two teams going after each other with a lot of fight when we play against each other. It's what happens. And, you know, we got him a little bit this game, but, you know, it's one of the things I want to tell you in this profession, you hate to play against friends because I know what it feels like to get beat. And you don't want to play against friends. You want to play against people you don't like. Beat them. I mean, it's certainly don't want to. I won't schedule non-conference games. I don't want to schedule them against former coaches that are assistants of mine. I'm not trying to rack up a record against those guys. I know what it's like to lose. If they ask me for a guarantee game, I may do it, but you don't really like to play against friends. I mean, you don't want to.
We'll go over on this side.
Can you talk about the way Josh played both in the first half and then that play at the end of the second half?
Matt, you were on the money. I thought that was the play of the game. The 3 rebounds and the stick back. But let me go back to DeAndre Liggins had 9 rebounds. If he rebounds, we're pretty tough to beat. Darius Miller didn't play one of his better games, but made the biggest 3 of the game. That's the only shot he made. He was 1 for 7. Terrence Jones shot an air ball, folks, an air ball. It was 18 inches short. And he comes back and he rebounds and he gets baskets and because he's growing up, it didn't have an effect on him. And then Josh he's fighting and scrambling and scrapping and then Brandon does what he does for us. He ran our team. We only had 10 turnovers for a game against a team that really plays physical. And he gets 30 points because he makes baskets for us when we broke down. So there's a lot of good effort today from a lot of different people.
On this side?
John, it looked in the first half like it went a little 2-3 zone. Could you explain why you did that? And secondly, in the second half, can you talk about what DeAndre did against Joe Mazzulla?
Well, there's 2 things that happened. In the first half, we had some foul trouble, and we were trying to get out of the half. I needed to give Brandon a break, and I stuck in Duran. I said, "Now don't foul. The basket's not a touchdown, okay? If you get in trouble, don't foul." He left his feet and he fouled and gets his 3rd foul. So we went zone. We don't play zone that much, but it kind of changed up the game a little bit. But at the end of the half, when we go down 8, and then really at the very end of the half, the way we played, you know, we came in and talked about it. They went to I don't know what he calls it. It's a funky zone where they're switching and you don't know who's coming and who's going. And so we did some stuff in the first half. Even though we shot 56%, I wasn't comfortable with how we were attacking. So we went to some different ball screens. And I thought that was more effective. But when you look at the stats, it wasn't. And I think what happened for us was we defended better in the second half. You're right, DeAndre got on whoever. Mazzulla, he went on Mitchell, he went on whoever. And I thought Terrence came up with balls and so did DeAndre.
To the back row.
Coach, I'm just wondering, at what point did you start to get the sense that Josh could be this kind of contributor for this team this season? Was it before the season, the Louisville game, or what was the turning point for him?
Might have been the Louisville game, but I didn't know if that was a fluke. But he said it. With young people out there, when you watch a player like Josh, it's not me. I don't have a magic wand. What you try to do is talk to them about what they have to change the result of how they're playing. Which means you got to change your body sometimes. Other times you got to change your mentality. You have to stop listening to people say, well, if they did this with you and didn't give him all the shots, if you played this position better, and then you listen to that and you buy into it, you can't change. So you got to stop listening. And then the other thing is you got to change your skill set. You got to change. If you don't change, there's no way the end result's going to change. You're going to be the same player. He's changed all that. But so is Darius Miller. And I keep telling him, you can't listen. Stop. You got to change your mentality. You do that through hard work. You do it by spending extra time in the gym. You do it by conditioning extra. Going in on weekends, going in on the evening. And these kids have done it. We're playing 6 guys, so we can't practice all. Our practices are an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. So if anybody needed extra, they did it on their own. And those guys that I talked to you about, Brandon and the others, did it on their own.
Go over on this side.
At one point at the beginning of the second half, I saw Brandon take Terrence to the side, and he kind of yelled at him and said, "Get on the post." Do you like seeing
Yes.
that from Brandon?
Yes, and somebody asked a question, did we come out saying we're trying to post the ball? Yes, we did, but we had done it earlier too, and he didn't post. He stepped off the lane. And Brandon looked at me and I said, you tell him. Why are you telling me to tell him? You're out there with him, tell him. And they love each other, so there's no big deal about it, and they can laugh about it later, but that's what a good team can do. They can get on each other, they know it's not personal. DeAndre came in a couple of timeouts and finished these off. What do we do? You know, and I mean, he was mean about it. And, you know, I was more or less calming people down at the end.
Over here.
Brandon said he was nervous a little bit going into this game because he didn't have his
Anxious.
Anxious. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misquote him, but yeah, he was anxious because he didn't have his best shooting night. What does it say? He comes out here in his second NCAA game and throws 30 up there and leads your team.
He is a terrific player and an unbelievable young person who I've never seen. All the players I've coached, and I had guys that would live in the practice facility, literally. I've never seen a guy with this kid's work ethic. His focus on where are my weak areas, and he goes after them. I've had a couple. One's the MVP of the NBA, so he was kind of that way too. But who called me today, by the way? What a great young man. Called me before the game to wish us well. This young man works like he does, and both very bright basketball players. And anytime you spend that kind of time, you expect good things to happen. If you're trying to get over, if you're cutting every corner, if you're trying to fool around in practice, the minute it goes wrong in the game, you expect it to continue. If you're a hard worker and you spend the time, you expect good things to happen, even if I miss two. Everybody says, why would you give him the ball when he didn't make a shot? Because I knew he expected to make the last one. And you have to give it. And he's not afraid to miss the last shot. You can't be afraid to miss it either now. It means if I miss it, I miss it. And, you know, he's had a couple of those this year and he missed them. But he was fine with it.